Welcome to EVTN News. I'm going to jump right into the news today, and I'll comment on other things a little bit later. So, starting out in Boston, James Flavin, age 62, a former priest of the Archdiocese of Boston, is to marry Michael E., a man 32 years his junior. A two-day celebration is planned in February 2025 in Mexico. Flavin was ordained a priest in June of 1987. He was a favorite of Boston Cardinal Sean O'Malley, who appointed Flavin an Episcopal vicar in 2014. So he was ordained a priest before this other guy, was even born. Anyway, in 2019, Flavin took a sabbatical time. In May 2020, he bought a $1 million house in Chicago and lived there with his male concubine. Flavin earned money as a special assistant to then president of Jesuit-run Loyola University of Chicago, Joanne Rooney. In 2021, the Archdiocese of Boston declared Flavin on unauthorized leave, and I guess things spiraled out of control from there, and I'm sure he's not in active ministry now. So there you go. But even though he won't be able to be a priest in the Archdiocese of Boston, I'm sure a Jesuit university will hire him to work there. Because all are welcome if you agree with their distorted views. Okay, SSPX bishops. So, Abbe Benoit de Journa, superior for the French district of SSPX, has indicated that the SSPX will announce the consecration of new bishops. In a letter, he writes that the 4 bishops consecrated in June 1988 are no longer young. What a surprise. He said, since the situation in the church has not improved since 1988, it is necessary to consider giving them assistants who will one day replace them. He foresees an outburst in the media when such a decision is announced by the Superior General. At the moment, the virtue of strength will be very necessary for us on this decisive occasion, and we must all demonstrate our absolute fidelity to the unadulterated Catholic faith. So at some point, the SSPX, once the Latin Mass is declared by a future pope that the Latin Mass is the sole expression of the Roman Rite, then the SSPX will cease to exist because their goal was to preserve the old Mass, and if the Vatican has preserved it, then they have no need to exist at that point. So, but we need to get to that point first. Okay, and Viganò, I didn't even put that in the headline. I guess I should have. But unless you've been living under a rock, you would know that Viganò, so there's been some news with Viganò. The Vatican's Dicastery for the Destruction of the Faith, otherwise known as a DDF, has instigated an extrajudicial penal trial against Archbishop Carlo Maria Viganò, this is what EVTN is named after, accusing the prelate of the crime of schism in an email by Monsignor John Kennedy of the Dicastery's disciplinary section and sent to the Italian Archbishop Viganò, who served as papal nuncio to the United States from 2011 to 2016. The Dicastery summoned Viganò to the Vatican on June 20th, that he may take notice of the accusations and evidence concerning the crime of schism. Namely, the Dicastery notified the Archbishop that he stands accused of making public statements which result in a denial of the elements necessary to maintain communion with the Catholic Church, denial of the legitimacy of Pope Francis, rupture of communion with him, and rejection of the Second Vatican Council. Oh boy. Is that schism? Oh, wow. Anyone who attends the Latin Mass would probably be considered in schism then. So yeah, schism with the Francis Church. I don't know, is that really that severe of a crime? Viganò responded, he said, I therefore wish to make it clear that I did not go to the Vatican yesterday, June 20th, and that I have no intention of going to the Holy Office on June 28th, and that I have not delivered any statement or document in my defense to the dicastery whose authority I do not recognize, nor do I recognize the authority of its prefect, nor do I recognize the authority of the one who appointed him. I have no intention of submitting myself to a show trial in which those who are supposed to judge me impartially in order to defend Catholic orthodoxy are at the same time those whom I accuse of heresy, treason, and abuse of power. And among them are precisely the Jesuits, the first proponents of all the moral and doctrinal deviations of the last 60 years, starting with James Martin, S.J., the Elemento PQ Plus activist who's a regular visitor at Santa Marta. So, I don't know, that's actually kind of a strong statement. So yeah, more to come. He's going to receive his excommunication for sure. But, there have been saints who have died under excommunication. Now, I think with this specific situation, this is concerning. It seems as though, Viganò's been speaking out against Francis for years, starting in 2018, whenever Viganò suggested that Francis knew about McCarrick and knew about McCarrick's crimes, and he actively, covered up or ignored. But he also promoted. He promoted to bishops and cardinals the friends of McCarrick, and so the Vatican did their best to kind of cover up everything about McCarrick. The USCCB was ready to go ahead and at least try to come up with some solution. McCarrick, I mean, they were and then the Vatican undermined their efforts, caught them all off guard, and so nothing came about of it. The Vatican did their own sham investigation and didn't come up with any legitimate results. And no one was implicated and no one got in trouble except McCarrick, because the media was so the media was so much against McCarrick that the Vatican felt like the pressure to do something. But I think Worrell lost his job, but he was about to retire anyway, and he has a nice, nice retirement. Nice retirement plan. Gets a lot of money from the Archdiocese of Washington in retirement for doing nothing, although it's better that he's doing nothing rather than doing something, rather than undermining the Catholic faith. But Gregory was appointed to Washington, D.C. to help the Vatican with their cover-ups of McCarrick, and as a reward, he was named a cardinal. So the Vatican chooses now to go after Viganò. A lot of people were wondering why they wouldn't go after him right away whenever he accused Francis of knowing about McCarrick and doing nothing. And I say do nothing, but he actively promoted McCarrick. He actively involved McCarrick in his, in different activities of the Vatican. And so I think it appears that the Vatican probably believes that the McCarrick, conversation has died down sufficiently and people have forgotten about it enough that they're going to go after Viganò now. And I think with Viganò's statements, certainly he's unpopular even amongst traditionalists. So there's not a lot of public support for him, and so the Vatican's timing is not particularly surprising. Of course, going after Viganò shows that they removed Strickland, but they refused to remove German bishops who are blatant heretics, and people like McElroy, who promote LMNOP activity, and women deacons are promoted to cardinal. So, I mean, it's not really a surprise that they're going after the ones that are conservatives. Okay. Oh, and their next target, the Archbishop of San Francisco, Monsignor Salvatore Cordileone, will celebrate a pontifical mass in the traditional Roman Rite at the upcoming National Eucharistic Congress in Indianapolis on July 18th. Holy Rosary Church has been designated by the Archdiocese of Indianapolis as the church for the Mass. Another Mass will be celebrated on July 19th by Father Ryan McCarthy, pastor of Holy Rosary Church. The 2024 National Eucharistic Congress in Indianapolis will take place over 5 days starting on July 17th. So this is, I think this is good news, because a lot of people were saying, well, if you want a Eucharistic revival, just have a Latin Mass. And they're doing, I mean, I guess they are. It's not, you know, one of the largest venues. But I don't know how big this church is, but it's not one of the stadium masses or anything, which, I mean, they've had Latin Masses in stadiums before. It's not, you know, it's not unprecedented. But this is an overall good thing, and we'll see what the attendance is like there. But if they would just focus on the Latin Mass, it would undermine the Francis Church, really. It would work towards their goal of achieving, what would I say, a belief in the real presence of the Eucharist, in the real presence in the Eucharist. But I think the Eucharistic revival itself is just going to be a lot of corporate Catholicism. So basically, the tickets are pretty expensive, and like most dioceses are going to pay for some employees to go there, and so it's basically just going to be a big conference with diocesan employees that show up and a bunch of media people, and of course the heretics at America Magazine and National Catholic Distorter are going to try to undermine the real presence in the Eucharist, and they're going to talk about social justice, just like Cardinal Cupich did. And the normie conservative media outlets like The Pillar and Catholic News Agency are going to talk about how awesome it is, and how people really were, they really were able to experience a lot and have a great faith experience at a stadium mass with Eucharistic ministers and communion in the hand and all the Novus Ordo stuff that basically undermine the real presence in the Eucharist in the first place. So that'll be that. But there is a Latin Mass. So we're making headway slowly. And Archbishop Cordileone, yes. So he is going to say Mass, the Latin Mass, and certainly he'll be on the radar of Francis, just like Strickland. Francis needs a new target. Is his new target Cordileone? Will it be Paprocki? I don't know. There's not very many to choose from, sadly. But another target, Monsignor Dominique Ray, Bishop of Fréjus Toulon in France, appointed in 2000, had long displeased Francis because his diocese was flourishing and attracting too many vocations. So in November 2023, Francis appointed a coadjutor bishop, Monsignor Francois Touvet, I don't know. After 6 months, Monsignor Touvet, the coadjutor, is actively working to disempower Bishop Ray, the diocesan bishop, writes a French website. For example, the assignment of priests in the diocese is not decided by the ordinary, Bishop Ray, but by the coadjutor bishop. So Bishop Ray is nothing more than just a figurehead at this point. Now, I talked about this. I shared an article about this a while ago, how his authority would be undermined. And someone really took offense to it and really wrote an angry comment against, criticizing me. And now this is exactly what was going to happen. And I said what was going to happen. And they're wrong. So I have to find the comment, actually. Maybe I can. Maybe I'll do that at the end of the show if I remember. And all that's left to Bishop Ray is to appoint volunteer auxiliaries for prisons and hospitals. So he does nothing. He just sits in his office all day and. But in the same diocese, ordinations for the missionaries de la Misericordia Divine in the Diocese of Fraises Toulon, France. The ordinations are still being blocked by Francis. So this group is called One Missionaries of Divine Mercy. They've been awaiting for more than 2 years to be ordained a deacon, and 4 deacons have been awaiting their priestly ordination for 1 year. According to Father Jean-Raphael Dubreuil, the superior, this waiting is no longer linked to the situation in the Diocese of Fraises Toulon, where ordinations have resumed, but to the fact that the community celebrates the traditional Roman rite as provided for in its statutes, which are approved by the Church. Now, I thought I had more information. Oh yes, there was a comment that said, it appears that the situation is blocked not only because of the rite of ordination, but because of the possibility for future priests to be able to celebrate in the ancient rite. No certainty regarding this possibility is given by Roman authorities, and it could therefore be that candidates are ordained without having the right to celebrate later according to the ancient rite. They would then no longer be able to exercise their ministry within the community and in accordance with the statutes. So it's particularly evil in that regard. Another traditional Roman rite community is being banned from ordaining priests, or from ordinations of priests. And to make things worse, on June 24th, so that's today, Francis received Monsignor Gilles Watch, co-founder and prior general of the Institute of the Sovereign Priests of Christ the King, which follows the Latin Rite exclusively. No further details of the meeting have been released, but I wonder if it's similar to the FSSP meeting where they requested a meeting with Francis. I don't know why you do that and bring his attention, bring the Eye of Sauron, bring it onto yourself. Why would you do that voluntarily? The FSSP wanted to seek an out of celebrating the Chrism Mass at the diocese, and Francis basically told them, whatever. I think he told them, nope. I think that's what they got, was a decision that was like, nope, sorry, you gotta celebrate it. Celebrate, or you can just skip it if you want. So hopefully the Institute, I don't know why the Institute would be summoned there, but certainly avoiding a meeting with someone who's hostile towards your charism is the prudent decision. So it's possible that the Vatican initiated it, and it might have been to discuss the situation in Chicago. I don't know. Because as you know, they were suspended by Supich because they refused to say the Novus Ordo on first Sundays of every month. It's not in their charism to say the Novus Ordo. So that's what it is. Now, as far as the Latin Mass bans are concerned, Verate Caeli has walked back his statement that the Latin Mass bans are coming. And he's walked it back several times in the past week. So I mentioned it, and I didn't put it in the headline last week, and I didn't put it in the headline this week. So it's what it is. I mean, it's. Let me see here. See about the. Nope. if anyone's in the live chat, feel free to leave comments. But yeah, Rorate Caeli, it's just always mixed messages from him. You just never know if his messages are accurate or not. Now, what was I gonna? I was gonna look up some stuff on my channel. Let's see. It would be Bishop Ray, but I don't know if I'm gonna find it or not. No. It's hard to tell. It's really hard to tell. I'm just gonna go down through. No. Okay. Does anyone have any comments here? I'm looking very quickly through some of my some of my videos. I guess I need to search for ordination. There we go. Let's search for that and see what. Yeah, but as you remember, Bishop Ray was banned from ordaining diocese, or banned from ordaining priests for I think over a year, honestly. So no. Okay. Well, I'm trying to search through it, but no, I can't find it. I'll find it I'll be able to find it at some point, I think. If I really want. Okay. I thought I would be able to find it. Is there anything else? I thought there's a lot of stuff. I mean, everyone's declaring everyone else is schismatic and excommunicating everyone, and just, you know what? Try not judging people. Like, really. I mean, even if someone's like, you know, sedevacantist or whatever, like, that doesn't affect your soul. It really doesn't. And if what someone says online impacts what I don't know, if you feel like it impacts your soul, then don't get online or tune that person out. I don't know. It's just not. It's not for you to judge someone's soul. So like all these people excommunicating Viganò, like chill out a little bit. You know, you can disagree with him. That's fine. Not and actually most people don't agree with everyone else, right? Like take for example the SSPX is really an angry topic, and people are saying, oh, you know, people are excommunicating the SSPX, but in reality, they do have faculties. So everyone calm down a little bit. But if someone says they don't want to go to the SSPX, then I mean, that's not my problem. Like, you're not, and you're not condemning yourself. So don't condemn someone who does. Don't condemn, not for you to judge. Now, this group of Spanish nuns has been excommunicated by their bishop, and it's hard to get the full story. I think they wanted to stay in their monastery, and the bishop tried to kick them out, and it's just going to end very poorly, unfortunately. A lot of people just overreact to a lot of stuff. The news comes in fast sometimes, and sometimes I like to skip certain topics, and the more I read these stories, the more I really just would rather watch sports. I mean, come on, really. Like, if my favorite teams are playing, I don't care about the church drama. I just want to go to my mass and get the old rite sacraments. Bishop Ganswine has been appointed nuncio for Lithuania, Estonia, and Latvia. Now, Do they have a lot of Eastern Rite Catholics there? How many Catholics are there? Is he kind of banished? I don't know, but it seemed like him and Francis had some conflicts, and then now he has a job again. I don't know. I don't know how to interpret that, but I think he knows. He knows a lot of things, and I don't think he said a lot of those things that he knows very publicly. Very publicly. I don't think he's disclosed a lot of it. I think he has a lot of information he's keeping secret. So I don't think Francis is going to keep him unhappy. I think he's going to. I think that's why he gave him a job. Keep him quiet. Now, is Ganswine compromised? I wonder, because it seems like Francis is able to buy some loyalty by appointing compromised people to high positions, and so he has some blackmail on them. McCarrick was an example. Zanchetta was a good one. Parolin was involved in that shady property deal. He hasn't lost his job, actually. Kissy. Oh yeah, Kissy hasn't passed. He has some really inappropriate books that he's written. But I don't know if that's the full. I don't know if that's the full 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 side of the full part of the story. I don't know. I don't know. All right. All right, well, that's all I have for you today. So until next time, this has been EVTN News. Thank you so much for watching. We are the laity, and we will not be silent.